when building like a fan engagement, it would be great to reframe it. Like, it's not a spending on a match day, it's an investment towards the club. The no-show league occurs when like tickets are being purchased. Often either it's a season ticket or a pre-sold single ticket as well, but the holder doesn't attend the game. And this is a really big like loss when it comes to the club. Imagine having a ability in your app, through the app, like pre-ordering your food and beverage, paying for it through the app, and just going there and picking it up without standing in a queue. So you go simply pick up your like beer and whatever hot dog you've just bought, but you don't have to stand in a queue for it to buy it. But you can do it through the app.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Today we are going to be discussing use cases to increase football club revenue. Obviously, we are going to talk about gamification as we usually do, but definitely this video is going to be especially useful for those of you who represent sports clubs with stadiums, food and beverage, and merchandise as revenue streams. And we have a wonderful guest today, Marcin. Hi, Marcin. Great to have you.
Pleasure to meet you. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Amazing, because Marcin is director of solution delivery. So obviously he is, he knows a lot about building fun engagement programs using gamification mechanics, but he's also a true football fan. So I believe that, this is exactly the right kind of person you would like to discuss fun engagement programs with.
Yeah, I guess my background also says this.
Perfect. So I'm so happy. Let's just dive into it because we've prepared quite a lot of info. So I will dive in with a bit of insight. So this insight comes with our research. This actually is something that wasn't really clear at the very beginning for me because I wasn't so comfortable with like distinguishing between customer loyalty and fun engagement. I also know that for some people, working in the sports industry, let's say describing a fan as a customer, you don't feel very comfortable with it. It sounds a bit awkward. So, I decided to dive in here, and the difference.
It sounds very transactional. Sorry to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then there is this kind of clash. Like, okay, we definitely want to treat fans differently than we treat customers. So what is it all about actually? So it turns out that the main difference is that if we think about customers and when we design for customer loyalty, very often this is about making sure that the customer understands that they, as a member of the program, they are eligible for the best deal possible. Very often, they are very, let's say, value oriented. So obviously they would like to purchase a product or a service, and they are not there, for the long run, like for a very long time frame. Basically, it all boils down to your post-purchase experience. So if you think that the product that you have bought or the service that you have used is great, obviously you will stay with the brand for longer. Then if you have a properly designed customer loyalty program, it will basically help people also see this value and recognize it. But when it comes to fans, it's a totally different story because fans, they operate in longer time frames. So we are not only limited to a season, we probably, most likely, are going to support the team, our local team. And, for those of us who do not move, it might be probably one team for a lifetime. And there are like two things that, especially when we think about designing a proper fun engagement programs, is going to be the heritage and legacy. So heritage is something that you have already done, something, that you could receive from your past experiences. So let's say that you have been with the club for 5 years. It would be a good idea for a club to recognize that and, see the fans that are regularly coming, and then, making sure that these fans are at least visible. And the second option would be legacy. So something that you built and then you would like to pass on to the others. So in my case, for example, is like, me going to matches with my daughter. For me, it's hands down the best kind of match if we can go together, 2 generations, but we can support the team and basically, have this great energy together. So if the club recognized as well that, okay, I'm not only a fan, but I'm a fan who is building legacy, then definitely, that would be the way to go. And this is something that also might contribute to a proper fan engagement design. And also, there is a difference with rewards, because when we think about customer loyalty, the rewards might be different depending on where the customer sees the value, but it might not be directly related to the brand. But when it comes to the best rewards for club, it's going to be club related experience. So I'm pretty sure that, if you, as a reward, if you plan a VIP experience where you can, let's say, meet a player, you can get autographs from the first team, it's all going to be, the best possible reward you can get, and definitely fans will work towards it. So, just wanted to start with this info because I believe that a lot of people representing sport might be a bit confused. Why would we think about, customer loyalty when it comes to sports? But in fact, yeah, we recognize the difference. Like in this case, we are going to be discussing fan engagement. And definitely, is not that transactional. Obviously, it is about revenue, but this revenue is going to be circling back. So it's a cool win-win economy where, the more money you spend on a club, the more money the club gets, and the more experiences the club can provide. So that's the insight. We also have a heavily researched insights on your part, Marcin. So this is about the revenue streams. So I believe that this is going to be crucial for a lot of people representing audience. If you could briefly guide us through the 4 leaks that you have identified.
Sure. I'm gonna dive into it in a second. Just wanted to mention that you caught it really great when it comes to like heritage versus the legacy. But he also said something really important about like people spending money on match day. And like for the club, when building like a fan engagement, it would be great to reframe it. Like it's not a spending on a match day; it's an investment towards the club, because essentially, like you're bringing more revenue to the club, and the club will be able to spend this money on upgrades, on better players, and so on. So it's essentially investment from the fan side.
Oh, that's a great take. So I didn't even realize it, but now when you framed it like that, this is probably also the core difference between a customer and a fan, where actually the customer, as you said, the customer wants to spend money with a brand. Obviously, we can also think about investment, but when it comes to football clubs, it's pretty obvious that you are not spending money, you are actually investing in your club and the experience that you support. So thank you so much for pointing that out. I believe that, by the way, for all those of you in the audience who are watching the video, if you could let us know in the comments, if there are any other differences that you have noticed, or maybe there is some, clear description of a fan that you are using, and maybe there is something, another perspective that we've missed. So please just let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to hear from our audience if what we're saying also like resonates with them.
Absolutely. So you've done a great research. Basically, it was making sure that you looked at the club as a business, in this particular case because you wanted to identify the revenue streams and you wanted also to identify the main challenges. If you could guide us through your insights based on this particular research.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. So I spoke with like a lot of European clubs and did my like research. I wrote a white paper on it, and I've identified like 4 major leaks that are like killing your match day profits. So I've grouped them into a bucket of 4. So like the first one is I called it a no-show leak. So essentially what it is that you sell a seat that stays empty. Even like it can be a season ticket holder who is just not showing on a match at the match, or a single bought ticket that somebody just couldn't come to the match eventually. And that's a one thing, but that also erases a lot of revenue potential on merch, on food and beverage, and like like this is a really big and important leak to try and fix. The other one is the resale leak. I've called it the resale leak. So fans who cannot attend a match do not transfer tickets. Like they do not think about it. Sometimes there is no possibility to do it within a club. And quick disclaimer: whatever we're going to discuss, it may vary between different leagues, between different clubs. It will it will be it will be different. So take it with a grain of salt, and I would love to discuss, your particular environment and how those like 4 leagues work within your environment and your club. But just wanted to highlight this disclaimer.
Sure, awesome. Yeah,
The
so
third
let us
one,
know. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the third one would be a match day spend leak. It kind of is connected with the no show, so a low conversion on merchandise and food and beverage purchases. And again, we're gonna touch on still at all of them on 3 different areas. One will be ticketing, the other one will be food and beverage, and the third one it's gonna be a merchandise. So all of them will be connected with those 3 areas. So the 4th major leak is a traffic spike leak. So it creates kind of like this operational chaos from the late arrivals. So people who come to the match on like last minutes, it's a huge pain because like there is again a lot of revenue potential lost in such cases. And further, I would like to discuss with you like how can we fix those leaks? How can we catch some of this revenue potential back to the club and see how fun engagement program can help you do that.
Absolutely. So thank you for pointing out those 4 different major ones. Obviously, yeah, like you said, if any one of you see any particular, challenge, or like there is another league that you see, something that is that might be a missed opportunity, or something, an area that might actually be a revenue stream that sometimes gets, let's say, that there are some particular challenges associated to that. Let us know. Make sure that you type in the comments what you've noticed. Yeah, and then all of those leaks that you have identified might actually serve as a, let's say, fun engagement design direction. So if we think about like, okay, what can we do with a program? Obviously, this program should be a win-win, both for the fan and the club. So if we look at it from this perspective, we are also going to be using gamification in order to make sure that we can design proper experiences that are aiming at these leaks. How do you actually? What is your take when it comes to gamification and fun engagement?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
so we've seen gamification works across the board, but it works especially well in like fun engagement. And the gamification is a combination of multiple different things. Like on top of it, you're gonna have campaigns, like regular like campaigns that you can run within your like loyalty software. But going further, you're gonna have challenges, because that what like drives your engagement. You can have streaks, so like do things in the row, right? Like a couple of them in the row. Then the next one is a variety of like lottery mechanics. So it can either be like, you know, a lucky draw, like a scratch the card, or like spin the wheel. And essentially, what it is a lottery mechanic that that also like builds up this emotional tension, and you know, the reward on the other side is waiting for me. Uh, and also what we've seen working as like the growth engine that works really, really well is the referral campaigns in that case. So those are like the combination. So the fan engagement program can be created efficiently with those gamification mechanics.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying, because very often, you know, first of all, I mean, on the one hand, we see that gamification is always like the top goal for, you know, people in both fun engagement and customer loyalty industries. But then it's very often that, well, it's not so easy, or at least it sounds complex. But in fact, this is using the available mechanics in such a way that actually can address those clear, let's say, you know, revenue streams, as you've pointed out. And for me personally, when you said about streaks, this is perfect, because it is tied to heritage. If you come to the match and it's been your, I don't know, as we've said before, fifth season, it clearly, like, you know, screams like it might be a part of a great streak, with you actually, you know, like having, maybe you were this seasonal ticket holder for the fifth year in a row, right? And then if we just implement this streak mechanics, suddenly it is visible, you are visible, and then as a club you can decide like, okay, what could we offer, what kind of club related experience could we offer to these fans who have been with us for the fifth or more seasons, right? Then when you said referrals, this is amazing when it comes to the legacy thing, because at some point, you know, if you have kids, cousins, I don't know, friends, people who haven't been to the stadium yet, maybe they haven't even considered, you know, supporting the local team, but you, as a proud ambassador of a club, you can use the referral mechanic, and then, you know, it might be well incorporated into the program so that it is easy for you to invite new people. So thank you so much for clarifying
There's
that.
actually there's actually one more mechanic that you just highlighted for me when saying that, and I didn't mention it, and I didn't mention badges.
Ooh, okay, cool.
I forgot about this one, so sorry about that. But you said the really great thing that you know, you've combined this like streak. Hey, I'm a season ticket holder for like last 5 years. You can get a badge for something like that, something that gives you status, right? Because people are status driven, essentially.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this is also a very powerful mechanic that that can be used within this realm.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that, because when you've mentioned badges, then I thought like maybe at some point, if you hold this particular badge, maybe you as a fan could be eligible for like, you know, some limited customized merch piece. But, you know, I'm just like
Exactly.
throwing it out there. So for people in the audience, you know, like let us know actually what comes to your mind when it comes to a proper gamified fan engagement experience. And we are moving on to particular use cases that we wanted to share. So we start with ticket reselling and fighting the no-show league that you have identified. If you could briefly, like, you know, explain the problem a bit, and then we could move on to the solution.
Sure. So, like I said previously, like the no-show leak occurs when like tickets are being purchased often either it's a season ticket or a pre-sold single ticket as well, but the holder doesn't attend the game. And this is a really big like loss when it comes to the club, because club, like apart from people not coming in, are losing the food and the beverage potential. That's a one thing. Merch, so merchandise potential as well. There is a degradation in the atmosphere, like, less people, worse atmosphere, and so on. But there's also an important part about partner activation opportunities. So sponsors are essentially buying eyeballs, like they're buying advertisement a place that the attendance, the eyeballs, we were gonna look at that, and having that big no-show league each time, because it's a specific percentage each season. It's also gonna affect the sponsor agreements. So this is a big problem, and there are a couple of solutions that we can put in place to catch some of the revenue back, but also fill those empty seats, essentially. So one of the tactics that we could use is, of course, ticket transferring. So I know that, again, it's going to vary based on different leagues, because sometimes league has a solution to that. Sometimes you as a club have the ownership of that issue, but essentially making a reselling process effortless for people is a super, super important thing. And what I mean by that is that you can either have a peer-to-peer transfer. So you can give your ticket to a known person, somebody who you want to, you want this person to feel your emotions, like the ones that you have when you go to the match. And you can combine it with a referral campaign as well. So you want to transfer a ticket to a non-member, you can refer them as a member for your fan engagement program. So you essentially brought in a new member for the club. You transfer the ticket to them, and it's really important to incentivize this behavior, because the incentivization, it's going to create those behaviors. So in such case, you give either rewards or points to a person who is like transferring their ticket, but also a person who just joined the program from such a referral campaign, right? So you give this incentive to both parties to make sure that if something like that will happen in the future, they're gonna instantly think about, okay, I need to resell my ticket to give it back, so that I will also it's again an investment towards the club, right? Because you're thinking about the revenue that you would bring into the table, but you move it to somebody else. So that's really a great thing for both sides. So the people who are transferring tickets, but also the club.
Absolutely. And then I really like because I believe that for those of our, I mean, those of you who work in the sports industry, this is something you are very well aware of, but still without this proper program that allows you actually to incentivize certain behaviors, then it's not so easy actually to influence, to make an impact in such a way as you've described. Because very often, if we think about some, siloed goal, let's say that we focus on selling tickets. So very often we have it looks great when we look at it before the match, and we see, well, okay, let's say 80% of tickets were sold. This is a great number. It's a great success. But then when you see the next day how many people actually showed during the game, then you see, okay, now maybe it's we need some sort of like a process where it is visible, where we can actually influence, when perhaps we could confirm with people before the game if they're coming, and if not, then we can apply those gamification mechanics so that it's actually easy and also like, perhaps even fun, or for them to resell this ticket. So great perspective here. Thank you.
So yeah, the other one could be especially important for low demand games. In the first, let's say, a solution, we were combining like referral campaign, but also like ticket reselling. But for low demand games where there's, let's say, plenty of empty seats, it like you could only focus on referrals, and like a member of a fan engagement could simply bring a new non-member to the match, and you could even do it this way, that a member gets additional points, but the non-member gets a discount on this first ticket to the match, right? Because like, okay, you know that this is a low demand game, you know that it's gonna be harder to fill those empty seats, but still you're catching some of this revenue back by again combining, like giving points, so incentivizing a specific behavior so that a member will bring non-member people to a match. So this can be like how to fight a no-show for low demand games. But there's also, of course, high demand games, because you could be fighting with a top club in the league, and everyone would like to be on such a match. But again, you might have a situation where you have like those season ticket holders that cannot attend this match, and in such case, the seat is blocked, and you don't know what to you cannot do anything about it in such case. So there are clubs who are also creating those like member to member marketplaces. So it's like an internal marketplace, and you as a ticket season holder, you can like simply unblock your seat to be sold, but to be sold internally to other members, to people who you will be controlling who can get this ticket. So that that it's not going to be somebody from the opposite side, right? It's going to be a fan
Supporting your team, right?
Supporting your team, exactly. So that's also really important. And again, incentivize such behavior so that this behavior will be written in people's DNA. They will be thinking about it. So give them points for doing such things. But like the key takeaway is that make this process effortless, like to resell the reselling the tickets, make it effortless, and combine it with the incentivize to create the behavior.
And this is probably making it effortless is probably the one most effective, I would say, incentive, because you might even think about like, okay, I probably won't be there at the stadium. I still have like about a week, let's say, or a few days before, right? But then me thinking about it is a task. It is a job to be done, let's say, right? So if I have an app, and if it's easy for me, where I can basically just submit my ticket, I can like, with a few clicks, I can throw it out there to the marketplace. Or previously you've mentioned spin the wheel as one of the gamification mechanics. How about we go for a segment of people who have been, like, let's say, those fans who have already built some heritage, or maybe the fans that are building the legacy, depending. And then how about we also create this, fun spin the wheel experience that suddenly you are, okay, cool, this ticket is available. Obviously, there will be probably less tickets than possibly people who would like to, have them join the game. It might be with those high demand matches. But then suddenly you are eligible for just taking a chance. So it's still like, I'm a huge fan of gamification here, where you could use the elements that have already been used in so many different scenarios, and then basically you can easily configure the particular experience that you would like to test, and boom, like it's ready, and it's effortless, it's fun, it's basically working.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Cool. So then, moving on to another scenario, the other problem that we have chosen is the early arrival incentive. So making sure that people are before the game, not like 5 minutes before, but rather 45 minutes before. If you could explain us briefly, why is it so crucial to actually be before the game, at the stadium?
Sure. Again, a couple of things connected
Sure.
connected here. So, like I I believe it was around 70% of people who were coming to the match in the last 30 minutes before the kickoff. What does that mean? Like, it means that people are, probably riding with their cars, creating huge road traffic spikes around the stadium. The another thing is that you're going to have queues to enter the stadium where you have like, ticket scanning and so on. But what is worse for the club is that you have queues for like food and beverage stands. And what does that mean? What it means is that people who will, come in the last like 15 minutes, are then they're going to see a queue to the food and beverage. They're not going to buy anything, and they're simply go to their seats, which means the club has just lost potential for that revenue. And like this is a huge problem. And how we can fix that with fun engagement is, again, we're all about building behaviors. So you need to incentivize people and give them a reason to come to the match earlier, like 60 minutes plus earlier, because you like to get to know this information on like when they came in and so on. The clubs have different like technology stacks. They might have different e-commerce. They might have different ticketing system. Sometimes the club will have the food and beverage stand under their control. Sometimes it's a third-party partner who is like taking care of that. So again, a disclaimer: I know that your situation may be totally different from what we're describing here, but it's not like there's no solutions to that.
Yeah. By the way, please let us know in the comments. Like previously we've mentioned that, but I feel that it's always worth to just ask to the audience to contribute. So if you feel that your situation might be a slightly different, or whatever you would like to comment on, please do so.
Yeah, and there are solutions to all of them, I want to say. And like the fan engagement program is about creating this one fan centric place where when they came in from a ticketing system, that they have bought merch, or they were buying merch for the 3 years consecutively, that they are spending X amount of money per match, because you have that information from the food and beverage stand. So again, it's about creating this environment. So creating this incentive for the early arrival is it's gonna make people come in sooner. So it's gonna flatten out this like traffic spike. So you're gonna have less traffic around like the stadium before the match. You can partner with your city to like incentivize people to use a public transportation, for example, to the match, right?
Absolutely.
Because that also will drive those traffic down. You're going to have less or smaller queues when entering the stadium, and you're going to open a longer window for food and beverage buying for people, which means they are actually going to spend more money, or they're going to invest more money to the club.
They are going to invest more in the club, as you're saying, and also they will have so much better experience, because I believe that, okay, obviously if you have, like we usually don't come to football alone, right? So we have like, people with us. So yeah, sometimes with the right people, even if there's like a really, really long line, it is still fun because you just, you talk, you wait, that's not a problem. But still, it's so much better to be able actually to buy whatever you want to buy and then, either take a seat, right? Or just have a conversation somewhere where it's convenient. So this is absolutely crucial. You've mentioned the possible, let's say, partnership with either the city or maybe
Or you can
some
use different transportation, like in Europe, there's a lot of those. What do you call them?
scooters,
Electric
I believe, right?
scooters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Electric
Uh-huh.
scooters, and companies who are like renting them out. So you could partner with such company as well to have like this discounted price for if you leave them next to the stadium, for example, so that that those were the people who were probably going to attend the match.
And this is great because you can actually design it carefully, right? As this, like,
Yeah.
pre-game, let's say, part of the experience. So let's say that you do have this visible, discount. Let's even call it like, massive discount so that it really like works as an incentive. But this is time sensitive. So let's say that it works only 90 to 60 minutes before the game. So you actually
Mhm.
make sure, or you incentivize people to come there early because it is much more, convenient for them. And then obviously you can arrange it so that, somebody who is expecting a lot of scooters to appear at the stadium, right? You could already have a team of people who will basically take those scooters and either, take them back to the city center, or
And
you will have
charge
a,
them.
yeah.
They will charge them so that the people who will be like leaving the game, they will be able to get it to get to their home, right?
Ah, okay, cool. That's another thing that you could, test out those different let's say it still might be a part of a challenge where you use the public transport on your way to the stadium, and then if you get back using the same transportation method, then suddenly, boom, you unlock some sort of like achievement, right? So many different opportunities here, but yeah, definitely, as you've said, the earlier you are, the better experience you have as a fan, and also you have this window of actually using everything that has been prepared for you. So looking at it from the perspective of investment into the stadium, then suddenly it's unlocked because basically you have time to visit those different spots, right? Buy something. So yeah.
Yeah, and you can add like another level of like those streaks and badges, like come into like the match 5 times in a row early, and you're gonna get a specific badge again, and it's a combination of a streak and a reward in form of a badge. So again, we're status driven, so we love those badges. We love to be able to tell our friends like, hey, I have a badge and you don't.
Absolutely. There might be also something like a, like a team challenge or like a group challenge where you are basically making sure that you come to the stadium earlier, but you also take your friends with you, or you ping them, right? So if the app allows you to do that, let's say that, hey, I'm going to be at the stadium 60 minutes before the game. Will you join me? And then suddenly, if people, if that resonates, and if through this message or like through this communication, you were able also to incentivize more people to come earlier, it might also create some sort of scenario where, yeah, that this you basically are like the club sees your effort, and then you are going to be rewarded, yeah, for such things.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you can treat VIPs as VIPs because you have this like 360 degree of who the specific fan is and
Hmm.
what are his behaviors.
Absolutely, because it's, if we think about it as, yeah, fun engagement, so obviously we think about like the ways we could, make the best possible experience for the fan, but it's actually a program where you gain this visibility, so you are aware of what is happening before the game, during the game, after the game, and then I think that for all those of you who are watching us right now, and you think like, hey, I wish I had this, like more detailed view of what fans expect, or what they are like, doing or would like to. If you think that you would like to collect more data about, fans engaging, so definitely some sort of a program is the way to go, because this is
I
basically the
think it
vessel.
also, sorry to chime in, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also important from it, like to ask yourself a question: would I enjoy something like that as a
Yeah,
football fan? And like for me personally, all the time I'm gonna say yes, because
obviously.
yeah.
I mean, I have same here. Like, I've been to. Let me think about it. For me, it was like 4 seasons. So I'm not like a long, like long time fan. But I think that, yeah, 4 years ago I went to see the game live for the very first time. But still, I feel already that it's been like a lot of emotions, a lot of different situations. So if the club only like saw, or if I could be visible from this perspective, I would definitely like that. It is definitely sort of it's not creepy at all. It's something I would definitely like to be visible. Cool. So the next thing, or the third use case that we are about to discuss, is the food and beverage and merch, because this is something like you've mentioned the investment in the club, and definitely this is the proper way to look at it. What is the main problem or the main challenge when it comes to food and beverage and merch that you've analyzed?
So it's not even that there is a problem, because we like the two previous ones that we spoke about, they've also touched on like this food and beverage and the merch kind of thing. This one is more about like, okay, how can we gain a little uplift on like food and beverage and merch selling? And what comes to mind here is about, at first, like we spoke, reducing the queues, so that to like make this window bigger, larger, when it comes to like buying food and beverage. But also that means people can being a little bit earlier on to the match, they can also go to a club's shop and like browse the merch. There can be a merch that is like limited time only, so like for this particular match you have like this half by half scarf that is like one side is like your team, the other side is the opposite team, because maybe this is a big match like a derby and so on. But this one is also about creating some game specific or like time limited campaigns that create some sense of urgency. So, for example, like imagine being on a match, you have like your club's app on your phone, and you get a notification like, "Hey, buy 2 items at the club shop today, earn 50 points, like 50 bonus points towards like your next reward." This is a very time limited, very game specific campaign that is creating urgency. So this way, you're able to have the uplift in merch selling, for example. This one, of course, is like, and the whole like fan engagement program is about creating this points economic. So like you get points back on every purchase. So like the I don't know, a campaign that lets you earn X amount of points per €1 spent. And again, this is about the communication and reframing this spend as an investment, because it is an investment. It is like club gaining more money to essentially be bigger, better,
Yeah, providing
have
better
yeah,
experiences, right? So
exactly.
basically also making sure that yeah, this is part of basically R&D very often, right? So definitely this is investment.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, I haven't seen this one in real life, to be honest, yet. I would love to hear if anybody who would be listening to this webinar have done it, have done either a pilot for it or so on. I would love to hear some more real time and real life data about it. But like I was thinking, what would bring most like excitement, I want to say, to me as a fan being on a match, and knowing that the halftime is coming in, and I already imagine those big queues at the food and beverage, but I would really love to drink something or have something to eat. And imagine having a ability in your app, through the app, like pre-ordering your food and beverage, paying for it through the app, and just going there and picking it up without standing in a queue. So you go simply pick up your like beer and whatever hot dog you've just bought, but you don't have to stand in a queue for it to buy it. But you can do it through the app. Like, and even more, by doing that, you earn double points because it means you didn't stand in the line. You've again created this separate channel for the revenue coming to the club, and the revenue is immediate because you've just paid through the app. So it's not like it's gonna potentially be lost. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I'm
Mhm.
excited about
Yeah, yeah,
such an
yeah.
idea. I would love to see this one in real world.
Same here, same here. And I would love to, I would love this feature to be available not only before the match, but obviously, as you're saying, it might make sense to include it in the points economy so that you, first of all, get points for ordering the beverage or food, right? Or merch. Then it absolutely makes sense to award you extra points for shortening the queue, the line. That's fantastic. Uh, and I would like to see it as a part of pre-game experience and also like mid-game. Whenever there's like, during the break, I remember that at least 3 times I just looked at the number of people who are queuing to grab the beer in, during the break, and I
Yeah,
knew that it's I won't
it's
do
a
it.
bit
I
too
won't
much.
be yes, I won't be able to actually return to the game on time. And
Yeah.
because we are so excited, we are talking, we are discussing, what has been happening. Obviously, we are thinking about like, especially when you get to see like a match that is really very very
Like a high
what do we
demand
put
game.
yeah, and you actually are emotionally invested, right? So you are
Yeah.
a bit excited, and the last thing you want to do is actually be standing in the middle of a queue. So there is also this kind of you don't want to lose
Lost
that.
emotions.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the time you have already invested, right?
Yeah.
But still you want to be there at the game. So from a fun perspective, this is the worst possible experience because you are trapped somewhere between the food and beverage and the game. So you are somewhere in between where you don't want to be. So
And you
so
probably
the
would like to
solution,
use a
yeah.
toilet in the middle of this whole thing. So that
But
again
you're
creates
absolutely right
even
that there
more
might be
cues.
also some other things on your checklist where you
Yeah.
think about how to use the break properly. But yeah, definitely the solution that you are suggesting here is awesome, and this is the great way we could actually work with the experiences from the retail industry. Because, for example, in Starbucks, I believe that it works like that you can pre-purchase the coffee and basically go into the store and then pick it up, because that was the premise that people who are on their way to work, they wouldn't like to stand in line in the morning. They would rather pick up the coffee and then boom, like carry on. So I believe that this experience might be perfect for fun engagement, especially when it comes to food and beverage and merch.
Yeah, and your example might feel detached, like
Mm,
you're comparing like Starbucks, which would be
yeah.
probably categorized as retail, and you
Uh-huh.
have like this fun engagement software and on a match day. but it's totally relatable. Like,
Absolutely.
like those mechanics that works at retail, they work really great at matches and like football fan engagement. And so a lot of the clubs can, get those inspiration from retail
Yeah.
loyalty programs into their fan engagement program.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned before, there are different clubs, there are different fans, there are different scenarios. But what you can do actually through a properly implemented fan engagement program is that you can test out different ideas. So you don't need, let's say, a team of developers who will carefully design an experience that may never be changed. But what you get is like, you rather get a set of tools that you can configure yourself as a, let's say, fan engagement manager, right? Or someone who is actually in charge of making sure that fans get the best possible experience. And then you can configure different scenarios, test it out during the games, and then iterate it. So, this is something that is absolutely doable. And as you've mentioned, you can use the, tried and tested use cases from other industries and see what happens. Awesome. So since we are wrapping it up, I also wanted to ask anyone in the audience to, if you have any questions to Marcin at this point, feel free to type them in. We will definitely make sure to answer them all. So, feel free to let us know about your ideas, about your questions. Maybe you are hesitant, maybe you are interested. Just, share it with us. And
Or
here,
simply contact me, because I would love to hear more stories from
yeah,
football clubs. I would love to speak to more professionals from different European football clubs and discuss this potential of like how can the fan engagement software or fan engagement program can help like fill those gaps for you and for your club. And yeah.
hmm yeah, this is a cool thing. You're right that, also feel free to reach to us directly. As you can see, Marcin is both a football fan and fan engagement professional, so you have the best of both worlds. So definitely try it out and use the opportunity. Marcin, we decided to end with a pretty strong point. So the whole concept of us discussing those use cases was actually to make sure that people understand that there is a way to improve clubs' revenue. And the use cases that we were discussing are tied to the 4 revenue streams that you have listed. What would you like to leave with the audience before we wrap it up?
So I like after speaking with multiple different football clubs, like one thing that I've heard is like, okay, but how we can justify the investment, like how to make sure that we're gonna get something out of it, and it's gonna be a good investment. So by writing this white paper with each of those leaks, I've created also, like, again, based on the conversations and based on the outcomes I've seen on the market, there's a simple math, let's say, that will show you, okay, how much, based on my attendance, my number of ticket season holders, my average food and beverage spend, and so on. Like there's like multiple KPIs that you can simply put into this like math equation, and it's going to give you a potential for like how much of like the revenue can you essentially get back by implementing those fixes for those leaks.
Perfect, because this
And
is custom, right? So
yeah,
actually, whatever you are, whatever football club you represent, or any sort of sports club at this point, you can actually use it to calculate something that is based in reality. So it's going to be math. It's not going to be some randomized forecast, right?
yes, exactly. And
Mm,
so by having this math, I and to give you some sense of like, okay, what the numbers are, because
mm,
like this is always what people want, what the numbers are. So we've seen that for a 25,000 capacity wise club, when it comes to the stadium, with an average of 17 home games, the total recoverable revenue is around 1 million euro in just the first year.
Okay. And this is something that will be accruing over time, right? Because still we are speaking seasons, right?
Exactly. So, let that sink in.
Yeah.
Think about it. And if you feel like this is a important topic and you are thinking about it, you would like to dig in, get to know more, and so on, like reach out to me, and we can create a different scenario for your environment.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing this, researching the topic so deeply, and consulting it with football clubs, because now this is something that will be extremely valuable, and it's also easy to use. It is very actionable. So I believe that for the audience this is the best, as good as it gets, especially when you think about this video that is aimed at improving revenue streams. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. As I've mentioned before, if you have any sort of questions or suggestions, or you would like to share anything, feel free to do so. I will make sure that everything gets an answer. Also reach out to Marcin or myself directly. We are truly passionate about how to build the best possible fun engagement programs. Cool. Marcin, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It was really great to be here again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, I hope that we meet again soon. In the meantime, take care. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.